Hello students, in this lecture we are going to discuss few more things about sampling. In our previous lecture we has discussed that to convert a signal, an analog continuous signal into a discrete signal, we need to use a sampler, which is basically work like a switch periodically, and this time period we will call it as sampling period. Okay, now today we would like to know whether this time period or the sampling period it is having any limitation, or I can take any value of time period or sampling period to get a proper signal. Now one thing you should like to understand that why we actually go for digital signal processing. We convert the analog signal into digital signal to use the processors to get the better usage of mathematical manipulation, and to use different algorithms to make the final product better. Okay, but finally what we have to do, we have to convert this discrete signal again into an analog signal which should retain all the characteristic of the initial signal which has been discretized. Okay, so that means there comes a requirement of reconstruction of that digital signal into the original signal. So that means it is important not only to get the sampling, or not only to perform the sampling, rather we should perform the sampling in such a manner that we should able to reconstruct the original signal properly. Okay, so first let us know there is a theorem for that. To get the proper reconstruction, definitely this sampling period should have a limitation, and that is actually stated in sampling theorem, or you will also known as somewhere Shannon's sampling theorem, or somewhere you will also known it as Nyquist rate. Okay, so what is actually written in this sampling theorem, that a signal which has highest frequency component of fm hertz, it should be fm hertz, can be recovered from its samples. Recovered, that means what is now a signal it is having maximum frequency within the signal, that is fm. Okay, and it can be recovered from the sample you have get if the sample are taken at the interval of t. It should be capital F. Okay, interval t which is less than equal to half of the fm. That means the maximum frequency, suppose that means if a signal is having maximum frequency 200, within a lower frequencies are there, no problem, but the maximum frequency content of any signal, suppose 200. So you have to take the sampler, you have to sample it in with the rate t, sampling period t should be less than equal to half of 200. That means half of 200 means 100. So this will be 100. So that means what is t? If it is hertz, it must be in second. Okay, so that means what I am trying to say now, from here you can able to get that we know that time period and frequency has a relation. So this will be time period is time, having in second, it has a unit. Now t is equal to 1 by frequency. So if this is the sampling period, this frequency will be the sampling frequency. Okay, so if I take these with respect to sampling frequency, so the sampling frequency, what is actually should be the rate of sampling frequency should be twice of the maximum frequency content. That means if you want to take the if you want to reconstruct the signal after making this discretized, the sampler, which should be on off, the way it will be on off should be should have a frequency at least greater than 200 hertz. That means it may be equal to 400 hertz or greater than 400 hertz. So you have to take minimum frequency of 400 hertz as a sampling frequency to get the to reconstruct the signal, sampled signal into its original form. Understand? Otherwise the phenomena will happen is called aliasing. Otherwise, if you don't take the frequency, sampling frequency twice that of the maximum frequency content of the signal, if you don't take these, maintain this relation, the phenomena which will happen, that is aliasing. And if aliasing happen, you will not be able to reconstruct the original signal. Okay, so this is the boundary of sampling phenomena. So we have to obviously follow this sampling frequency rule. Now how is this going to happen? I am going to discuss now. Okay, so you can understand what is aliasing. Now how it is happening, try to understand. What is this? We have discussed it in our previous class that this is basically an analog signal and this signal is a non-periodic signal. You can understand this is a non-periodic signal. Okay, it's a simple aperiodic signal. So this xt is a aperiodic analog or continuous signal. Now to get the sample signal, what we have to do? We have to make mathematical manipulation with this type of signal. This is called delta t. What is delta? Delta is basically train of impulse. Now train of impulse, or we can call it as sum of shifted sequences, sum of shifted impulse sequences. Okay, so now these two, when they correlate, you will get this signal in the form of sampled signal. Okay, so it will be at the value, here we have shown it is beyond the value of 0 also. So we will sample here. Suppose this is my t, this is 0, then this is capital T, then this is 2t. So we are getting the continuous magnitude but discrete in time. So this signal, sample signal, has the characteristic of magnitude continuous but time is discrete. Now one thing I would like to do the mathematical implementation, if we do one, you can understand that this is basically a periodic thing, because same thing is coming and the time period is t second. So if we think of any periodic signal, if we want to analyze any periodic signal, we have to take care of Fourier series. Understand? So we have to take care of Fourier series. So if I take a delta t, if I write the any form of Fourier series as it is a periodic signal, appearing, so I can write delta t in form of Fourier series. Okay, so what is Fourier series? Fourier series is basically a0 by 2. It is the DC component, then summation of an cos omega n t. N is ranging from minus n is equal to, it is 0, it is from 1 to infinity, and then Bn sine n omega t. So this formula of Fourier series we all know. Okay, and we have done it in our circuit theory in our second year curriculum. So this is the Fourier series, and as delta is a periodic function, we can express it in form of Fourier series. Now another thing, we know odd signals and even signals. What are even signals? If the signal actually is this sort of thing, and if the signal is sort of this sort of thing, that means if the x function of x equal to minus of fx, then it will be a odd signal. And if the function of minus x is equal to function of plus x, or minus t equal to plus t, it is basically even signal. Okay, so here we can understand that this is basically even signal because it is not in the magnitude is not in the negative direction. So the function is never be minus of fx or ft. Understand? Ft here. So that means as it is a even signal, from the Fourier series we know that Bn is 0, Bn equal to 0 for even signals. So for even signals, Bn becomes 0. So what is actually delta? Delta is only this component. Understand? So if we want to consider, if we want to get a0, we know from Fourier series, if there is any problem, you can get just check any textbook and you will find the value of a0 will be 2 by t, and the value of an will be, what should be the value? It will be also 2 by t. So I am not discussing it because it is not in this the limitation, there is a limitation of time. So you just check how this a0 and an can come. Okay, so we got a0 and an, and our bn is equal to 0, as this periodic signal is actually as delta signal is actually a periodic signal. Understand? So now what we are going to do, we want to get this sampled version. So if this is my xt, when it is going to get doing the mathematical manipulation with the delta t, what we are getting here? We are getting here the sampled version xs t. I am considering it as xst, or you can consider it as xn, because it is coming into sequences. Okay, so now I am considering it to make you understand. I am trying to write it here. It is in form of xst. So this is the sampled version. So now, so what will be the sampled version? So the sampled version the sampled version XS T. XST, how can I get XST? I will get XT along with this delta signal, delta T. This will give me actually the sampled signal. So what is XT? I am writing the XT as it is. Now what we got in delta? We got that delta is actually the delta as if we write the delta T in form of Fourier series, we can write that it is actually A0 by 2. So A0 means my 2 by T. So half into 2 by T. So what is this part? This is actually my A0 by 2. Okay, so then plus summation of an cos n omega t. So summation of cos, so what we have to write? What we got an was actually 2 by t. Okay, so here 2 by t into cos omega n t. So what this part I have written? It is actually, I have written this part as my summation of an cos omega n t, or n cos omega t, whatever you can write. So it is equal to from 1 to infinity. So this is the delta t. So if I write this delta t, so these 2 will cancel out. Okay. And what we can write, if I take 1 by t as a common, so I can write this part along with xt. I am getting that 1 upon t plus summation of n equal to 1 to infinity 2 by t cos n omega t. Okay, now so this is we can get. Okay, now so this is the sampled value of signal. Now if I just expand this part, what I can get? So I am get is my sampled signal is actually xt by t. Okay, plus if I put the value from 1, so if it is 1, so it will be xt by t 2 cos omega t. So this is the first part when n equal to 1. Then if I write, it is becoming n equal to 2, it will be xt by t 2 cos 2 omega t, plus in this way it will go on, right? So this is my sampled signal. So this is my sampled signal. Understand? Now another thing. So what is actually happening? There was it is a aperiodic signal. It is a periodic signal. To analyze this signal, we have taken the help of Fourier series, and after the manipulation, the sampled signal what we are getting in this form, it is basically again aperiodic, right? So st is actually aperiodic, and we know that when we go for any aperiodic signal, we have to, if we want to understand what is the frequency component of any aperiodic signal, we have to take the help of Fourier transform. So that is the tool from which we can get the frequency understanding of any aperiodic signal. Okay, so now what I am going to do, I am telling you that this part, okay, this part actually we have done. After that, this aperiodic signal, this sampled signal, I am taking that this signal, Okay, it is having a Fourier transform of xf. Suppose the initial aperiodic signal, this signal, okay, this signal, if you take the any aperiodic signal should have a Fourier transform. So suppose this xt is having a Fourier transform of xf, and how it look like? So I am writing that this aperiodic signal is having a Fourier transform. If you want to get any frequency component of a aperiodic signal, you have to go for frequency. So here you can go with omega. I am writing with f because you know that omega and f is actually proportional. So I am writing it with f. So what I am writing, that Fourier transform from this signal is giving you this type of signal, this type of frequency response. And suppose that frequency response looks like this. This is the origin, and suppose I am just taking a guess that this frequency is like a triangular wave shape. Okay, so suppose this is the signal xf and it is in frequency domain, and this part and this part is same, and the what is the value here? Suppose the maximum frequency content, this, if you want to get the frequency content of any signal, okay, so that you need to know before sampling. So you are taking that and you are getting the frequency content, maximum frequency content of this aperiodic signal is suppose minus fm and plus fm. Understand? Okay, so now this actually giving me the picture of the aperiodic signal xt. Fourier transform is giving me this picture. Now if I take, now here what is there? Here we are getting that xt, this xt signal is actually multiplied with the cos function, right? The signal is multiplied with cos function. Okay, so if it is a cos function, then there is a formula. So what happens? There becomes, if this signal is attached with a cos function, in the frequency domain there is a shifting, and the formula, that means xt into cos omega t. I am writing, I am again saying that I am writing it in form of x, f, this f as their similar, having same type of meaning. So this will be, it is having x into, the formula is x into f plus f plus the sampling frequency. The sampling frequency, how it is coming? It is from the 1 by t. Okay, so 1 by t, if you inverse it, you will give the frequency, that is the sampling frequency. So this is actually attaching with it because it is having a frequency and it is having a frequency. Naturally a frequency shift is happening. So what is the formula? This actually giving you f plus fs and plus x into f minus fs. Okay, so this is the formula for signal with xt into cos omega t. Understand? So now, so I have to write it again. I am erasing the ink of the slide. So we can, if we take the frequency content of the sampled signal, we can write in this way. What we are writing, because each and every component is associated with cos t, and what was the thing? It was actually, if you just go in the previous equation, you will find it was associated with 2 cos t. So this is the frequency response of the sampled signal. So what we are getting? We are getting the original signal frequency response divided by t. Understand? And along with that we are getting this shifting due to cos, this shifting. Now due to 2 cos, these 2 is will be multiplied with this factor. And as the formula, in the formula there is a division, naturally these 2 will cancel out with each other. So here next what we are getting? We are getting the frequency component was 2 omega. So here the frequency is becoming 2fs. Okay, so in this way it will be a series up to infinity. Now if we want to write it in the form of summation, so what I can write? Suppose this is xt by 1 by t. So I am taking everywhere I have just written wrongly. There will be a t, because in the equation there was a t present there. I was missed this. So this t will be, I will take the t common. Okay, now think, if I write it in this way, that this summation sign, if I write it in form of summation, so x f s, if I just separate each and every of them, I will find that f plus fs, x into f plus 2fs, then it will be x plus 3fs. So that means I am having some factors which are actually plus, and similarly which sum of which is minus. So if I write the n equal to from 0 to infinity, and if I write x, if I take this term first, f minus fs, so it is actually giving me this only, these parts only. Sorry, I have to write it n. Okay, so nfs, if I write it in this way, nfs, so when n is 0 I am getting this. If n is 1, I am getting this one. If n is 2, I am getting this one. So what about this parts? So you can understand here only the difference is plus. So this if I write the summation sign in this way, n is equal to minus infinity to minus 1, and if I write the same expression f minus nfs, then what it will be? When n is minus 1, it will become plus. So that means it is satisfying this part. So when it's minus 2, it is giving me this part. So that means if I just sum it up, I can able to write it in this way. So my expression is n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, x f minus n f s, where fs is the sampling frequency. And if you can write it, 1 by t is basically fs, so we can write it as fs n equal to minus infinity to infinity x f minus n fs, in this way. So what we got here? We get x sampled version, the frequency response of the sampled version of the signal, the sampled signal, the frequency of the sampled signal. So what we are getting, actually my signal, actual signal is having the frequency response like this. Here what I am getting, that I am getting along with, when n equal to 0, I am only get this part, same part xf. But along with it, due to sampling, due to the sequences, some additional parts are coming. So how it will look like? Suppose now take, this is the system. So as this is the function, so if I draw it, I know that along with the actual signal xf, we are getting certain. So if we draw, we are getting that here along with the original signal SF, we are getting certain replica. And if I draw the sampled signal frequency response, the diagram will be like this. This is the original signal. It is at origin. Okay, when we are getting the origin, when n equal to 0, if we put n equal to 0, we are getting this signal, the magnitude of which is given by the sampling frequency, and the maximum content is written within the signal. Along with this, we are getting more number of this type of diagram appearing here, and we will call them the replica. The magnitude will be the same. The magnitude is same Fs, but where this signal will be, they are actually at the distance of sampling frequency. They are actually apart by sampling frequency. So if it is 0, then the origin of the next replica will be when n equal to 1. If we draw, it will be at the sampling frequency. That means its origin will be at Fs. Okay, and from here we will get same type of signal. So the magnitude of it in the left hand side, that is it is also having this distance is also Fm, and this distance is also Fn. So it will be, this point will be in the frequency domain, it will be Fs plus Fm, and this will be Fs minus Fm. Fs minus Fm. Similarly, we will get another replica for n equal to -1 in the similar way. So this will be the replica where it will be situated. This will be for n equal to -1, this will be for n equal to 0, and this will be n equal to +1. So after sampling, we are actually getting this type of periodic different along with the original signal, we are also getting the replicas of it. Okay, so it will be minus Fs, and it will be minus Fs minus Fm, and this will be minus Fs plus Fm. So these are not actually the original signal. These are basically the replica of the original signal. Now when we are going for, as we are talking about from here, from the sampled version, we have to reconstruct the signal. That means we need to reconstruct. That means we have to get this signal. This only original signal we need to get. So from this replica, if we able to get this signal, that means the sampling frequency is okay. Okay, so now I will show you using certain values that if the sampling frequency I am taking the value of Fm, the maximum value of frequency content in the signal as 5 Hz, and suppose I am taking the sampling frequency as 15 Hz. Okay, so that is as per sampling theorem, it is okay, right? So what we will get, what type of replica we will get if we take this type of sampling? We will get the value, suppose Fs, that means the Fm, that here it will be 5 and -5. So here it will be minus. So now consider that the FM equal to 5 Hertz and FS equal to 15 Hertz. Now if I draw with these numbers, I can write that this signal will be, this will be 0, this will be, FM is 5, so this will be 5, this will be minus 5. Now Fs is 15, so naturally here Fs will be 15 and this part will be 15 plus 5, that is 20, and this part will be 15 minus 5, that is 10. So we can understand that this is my original signal and this is the replica of original signal. These two replicas, they are actually separated with a guard band. So enough space is there, and from here what we actually reconstruct, we reconstruct the original signal only. So if we take a low pass filter, why we will take a low pass filter? Because origin is at 0. Okay, so we will take a low pass filter and we can able to get the original signal reconstruction. We can able to get the original signal properly, we can reconstruct. Now what is going to happen if this frequency is equal to 10 Hertz, that is, it is double that of the maximum frequency content? You can easily understand that this guard band, this part is called guard band. Okay, so this guard band will vanish and the signal will somehow look like this. They are just adjacent to each other, the original signal and replica, they are just adjacent to each other. But here also you can able to get the signal because the signal is proper, the full signal you are getting. So you can also reconstruct if the sampling frequency is equal to double than that of the maximum frequency component. But if this value is less, now what is going to happen if the sampling frequency is less than 10? So you can easily understand that now this original signal is here. So this is 0, this is 5, this is 5. Now they are separated by the value of frequency component. So the replica will be naturally less than 10, whatever be the value less than 10. But the replica is just similar to this. So what is going to happen? You will find that this replica is inevitably going to merge with this portion. So this portion you cannot identify under which frequency component it is coming, which and because there is actually the two original signal and other frequency component, they are merging. Naturally this is you cannot able to reconstruct this part. So this phenomena is called aliasing. And if the sampling frequency is less than that of the double of maximum frequency content, less than, okay, so then this phenomena will appear and you will not able to reconstruct the original signal. So this is the concept about sampling and aliasing. Thank you.